Live from WHO TV 13, where the news comes first 24 hours a day. Scott Pope, Therese Thompson, Pat Paris with sports, and Jerry Reno with the weather. This is Newscenter 13, Sunday at 5.
Waves of heat coming up off the pavement at Saylorville Lake made the water look that much more inviting this afternoon. Finally, true Iowa August weather has arrived. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Yesterday was bad. Today, even worse.
Summer has returned with a vengeance, and if you were outside today, you were probably suffering. Just after 1 o'clock this afternoon, the mercury surged past the 90-degree mark, but high humidity made it feel like 100 plus. If you put off outdoor chores until today, you probably wished you hadn't. Bob Walker spent much of the afternoon pushing a lawnmower and wiping the sweat off of his brow. And folks in this West Des Moines neighborhood put their heads and resources together and came up with a little heat relief, a homemade water slide that lured almost every kid on the block. Probably a good thing the heat wave rolled in on the weekend. Most of us, of course, didn't have to work, and we could concentrate on trying to stay cool instead. Newscenter 13's Mary Mills with the live wire at BIRDLAND Pool, where low attendance is so far this summer has really picked up today, huh, Mary?
Yes, it certainly has, Scott. Quite a few people here, and no wonder. It's really a great place to cool off. People really enjoying themselves. But not everyone is coping quite as well with the heat. The athletes competing in the Iowa games up in Ames have been having a tough time. Talk about heated competition on the soccer field. These players knew it well. By mid-afternoon, it was near 90 with high humidity.
Everyone slows down a lot. We're all dehydrated with no subs. It was real difficult.
But so far they've been lucky. Only a handful of athletes have been treated for heat-related problems.
It's hot.
Apparently most athletes, like these girls, know how to keep cool.
I think they're really being cautious. They're drinking lots of fluids, trying to get out of the sun whenever possible.
Others learn the hard way. For instance, it wasn't necessarily the best day for a long bike ride.
Well, it hasn't been this hot the whole summer. And then suddenly the weekend we picked to go biking all day, it decides to be, how hot is it?
How hot does it feel?
About 110.
For many, Saylorville Lake was the only place to beat the heat. That is, if you didn't mind the lines.
It's great. I love it. I wish it was like this every day.
How do we stay cool in the water, usually?
Well, in one way, Scott, as you mentioned at the top of the newscast, the pool people certainly have to be happy because with the cool, wet summer we've been having, attendance has been way down, and at least this weekend it is picking up. So who knows how long it'll stay like that, but for today, at least, this is a great place to be and cool off.
I know the pool operators don't want to hear this, but I think most of us hope that it ends real soon. Mary Mills reporting live from BIRDLAND Pool. Thanks very much.
You know, when they have the mixture of heat and humidity, everybody always starts talking about the heat index. So we want to get to Ed Wilson in the Weather Center to find out just how hot it felt today. Ed?
Well, it is still warm out there, and this is about the warmest that we've had all day across the state. So we're going to take a look at the heat index right now. This is the heat and the humidity combined to make us feel like much, much warmer than what it is. Quad Cities, look at there, 105 degrees. That's the way it feels right now. Cedar Rapids at 104, Waterloo 100, along with Fort Dodge, Sioux City, and Council Bluffs. We feel like 96 degrees when we step outside. That's what the outdoor air temperature feels like, 103 in Burlington. It is warm out there, and there is relief in sight. Your hopes and prayers will be answered as the cooler temperatures move in for much of next week. I'll give you all the details on that in just a minute or two, Therese.
Okay, thanks, Ed. By this time of summer, Iowans are already geared up for beating the heat, at least usually, especially the elderly, who are among the most often victims of heat-related illness. But this time, the heat wave caught a lot of people off guard, so we've got some help for you here at TV 13. The TV 13 Fan Club is underway, and this is the number to call during business hours if you need a fan. If you'd like to donate a fan, new or used, you can call this same number and find the nearest drop-off site for you. Well, the high temperatures and humidity aren't expected to interfere with the last mass ascension at the National Balloon Classic in Indianola tonight. Newscenter 13's Kathy Saltero joins us with the live eye from Indianola. Kathy, what's the word on the balloons?
Well, Therese, the balloonists are in their meeting right now to determine whether they will fly. So far, it looks pretty good. Now, the weather's been really pretty good for these balloonists this past week, but for other aspects of the classic here, the heat has really started to take its toll.
His assistant was supposed to grab it and fly it. And
The Civil War reenactment is a big tradition at the Balloon Classic, the Confederates taking on the Union Army. The demonstration is as authentic as the real McCoy, all the way from the cannons to the woolen uniforms the soldiers wear. So heat was just as much a factor today as it would have been for the men back in the 1800s.
Sometimes it makes you wonder how they do. You know, of course, they were more conditioned to it than we were today. So, but we have people out here that have been doing this for 15, 20 years. The heat never bothers them.
Well, drink lots of water. You drink lots of water and you keep saying to yourself, it'll be over soon.
As the men engaged in battle, one by one, the Union soldiers began to fall, and then the retreat, and the Confederates claimed victory.
For us, it's just a way to remember those people, the hardships that they had to go through, and we're still thinking of them.
Keeping cool was the key to real survival, and once the battle was over, the canteens were tilted and the soldiers downed the fluids. Even though the soldiers said the humidity wasn't as bad as it was yesterday, a sparse crowd showed up to watch the battle. Yesterday's battle drew in hundreds of spectators, but that wasn't the case this afternoon. Still, those who made it today say the heat didn't bother them.
It was hot, but it didn't really bother me, no.
And if all goes as scheduled, the final ascension is expected to be around 6 o'clock. They did have one flight this morning that was canceled because of winds that were high up. They were pretty high winds, and it is a little bit breezy out here, so it's hard to tell whether they will actually get off the ground.
Okay, we'll just have to wait and see. Thanks, Kathy Saltero, reporting live for us in Indianola. Scott?
In other news, Minneapolis police have yet to file charges in connection with the murder of a Des Moines attorney and his girlfriend, even though the prime suspect in the case voluntarily came in for questioning this past weekend. Paul Lund Jr., the heir to a Minneapolis grocery store chain, is under lock and key in this Minneapolis psychiatric hospital tonight. Lund's estranged wife, Barbara, and Des Moines attorney Kevin Kelly were found shot to death in Lund's home on Thursday. Police say they don't have enough evidence yet to charge Lund and say there may be other suspects as well. Kelly served in the Iowa Senate and the Iowa House back in the 1970s. Funeral arrangements have not been made public. An accident along Interstate 29 in western Iowa has claimed the life of another road construction worker. 33-year-old Larry Cox of Little Sioux was unloading equipment from a truck when he was hit by an oncoming car. The Iowa State Patrol says Cox was pronounced dead at the scene. The accident yesterday is the latest in a string of road construction accidents that have claimed lives so far this summer.
A very special celebration was held in eastern Iowa this weekend, all in honor of Herbert Hoover. Just when former President Herbert Hoover's memory was taking a beating from some, another former president came to West Branch, Iowa to honor him. Ronald Reagan was the keynote speaker at the dedication of the new Hoover Library and Museum. Thousands of people from across Iowa came to hear Reagan speak and tour the new facility. More than a dozen injured as rioting breaks out at a rock concert in Montreal overnight.
And the war games in Kuwait claimed 2 American lives. More news after this break.
Newscenter 13, voted best newscast in Iowa by the Iowa Broadcast News Association.
4 vehicles in Bill Clinton's motorcade skidded into each other on a rain-slickened road in New York today. Luckily, no one was seriously injured. The Arkansas governor was traveling into Manhattan for a series of meetings. One of those meetings was with the president of Cyprus. Now, Clinton also talked with Congressional Armed Services Committee Chairman Les Aspin and Sam Nunn. The presidential candidate is doing so in an effort to stake out his ground on serious foreign policy issues. He has issued a statement on Somalia and Yugoslavia.
For President Bush, the 1992 campaign continues to be a struggle. A new poll published by the Boston Globe today shows the president trailing Clinton by 25 points. The president is spending a long weekend at his Kennebunkport, Maine retreat. He did take time out today, though, to talk with reporters about the latest developments in Sarajevo. But some of Bush's top advisors are reportedly urging the president to spend more time talking about domestic issues in hopes of whittling into Clinton's lead. The president has promised to pull off the gloves and go after Clinton's record next week when the Republicans meet for their national convention down in Houston. The U.S. Navy is investigating the crash of an American helicopter that went down today during military exercises in Kuwait. The Cobra helicopter went down on a training site about 8 miles south of the Iraq-Kuwaiti border. Navy officials say the helicopter was unarmed and conducting a routine training flight at the time. The name of the dead Americans have not been released.
Rioting continues to plague the heavy metal band Guns N' Roses. The group's fans went on a rampage last night at Montreal's Olympic Stadium after a sold-out concert by both Guns N' Roses and Metallica was cut short. At least 3 police officers and several rioters were injured. It took 300 officers more than 2 hours to calm the riot that left plate glass windows smashed and 27 police cars damaged. The riot erupted when Guns N' Roses lead singer Axl Rose's voice gave out soon after the band began performing. There was also trouble for Metallica. Their lead singer was injured when a prop exploded. Tonight's scheduled concert has been postponed. Tense standoff between almost 200 Jewish settlers and Israeli troops has ended in compromise. The settlers barricaded inside a house on the West Bank agreed to leave. In return, the army agreed not to demolish it for 2 weeks while they try to get a permit. Mexican officials are still trying to find out why a passenger train collided with a freight train on Friday. 8 people were killed, dozens injured in the crash about 200 miles southwest of Mexico City. In Barcelona, Des Moines native TASH KAISER has done us all proud. In case you missed it last night, TASH became a silver medalist in the women's 4x4. TASH led the pack for the first leg of the race, giving the American team the lead, but in the final leg of the unified team rallied to take the gold. Now, we talked with TASH's father last night from Barcelona.
For gold, but they weren't unhappy that they came up with the silver. They felt like they did the very best that they could, and they were pretty pleased.
So they're pretty happy tonight with it then?
Yes, they are very happy tonight. They're walking on air again. Since, you know, they really did great in the qualifying rounds, and to come up with the silver, they haven't gotten down yet.
Mr. and Mrs. KAISER should be back in Des Moines tomorrow night. TASH, though, won't return for a couple of weeks.
And we'll hear from TASH a little bit later in the newscast. The final night of the Barcelona Games includes what has to be the most grueling and demanding event of all. Coming up tonight during primetime coverage, NBC will bring us the men's marathon, and an American is one of the medal favorites. Also, highlights of the men's volleyball gold medal game, and of course, the closing ceremonies. The final night of Olympic coverage on Newscenter 13, followed by Newscenter 13 at 10 o'clock. Well, you may have some showers to cool us off a little bit later tonight.
But for the most part, the back-to-work forecast looks pretty dry. Ed Wilson's in for Jerry, and he'll have the details when we come back.
There's one thing nice about today, more so than yesterday, was we did have a little bit of a breeze this morning, although I haven't been out for a couple hours, it may have died down.
The breeze is dying down, but the temperatures are going down as well, and that is going to be the trend for the rest of the week. I can't wait to get to this 5-day forecast. It is going to be gorgeous out there. Let's take a look at BIRDLAND Park Pool. What a nice evening to be out there splashing around, enjoying the cool water in the hot temperatures of this afternoon. Right now, we do have 89 degrees, sunny skies, dew points at 71. The humidity, 55%. Along with that dew point, that gives us a heat index of 96 degrees. That's the way it feels out there. Southerly breeze at 13 miles per hour. And the barometric pressure steady. Wow. Hi there, kiddo. Did you see something in her hair there? I don't know. 29.95 inches and steady for that barometric pressure. Now for the radar summary. Shower and thunderstorm activity out to the west of us. It's very, very light and scattered around. We do have some down to the south. There was a watch box up here in Minnesota. It's still on our map, but it has been canceled within the last 15 minutes or so. A cold front's going to be pushing through. It could give us a scattered shower or two here in central Iowa. The chances are iffy at best. Most of the rain will be to the south and to the north of us tonight as that front pushes through. You'll see the cloud cover with the shower activity throughout sections of Kansas back into portions of Missouri and Arkansas. Showers and thunderstorms popping up along that front as it pushes through. Also, a little bit of shower activity and some relief for the desert southwest. Still very, very hot out there, and it's going to continue to be that way through the next couple of days. This is what we have going up above. Currently here in the Midwest, we have a cold front that's stretching through Minnesota. It's going to be pushing through Iowa. Behind it, some nice, cool northwesterly winds and much drier conditions. Just to the south of it, though, those hot temperatures still bubbling up here. They'll be pushing off to the eastern United States. Showers and thunderstorms will be most numerous up to the north of us in sections of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the Great Lakes area as that front pushes through. We are going to have very mild and dry conditions coming up for the next few days. Lots of sunshine to help the corn and the beans grow, but we will have cooler temperatures. 100-degree temps down to the south of us for tomorrow. You'll see 100 stretching all the way back up into sections of Nevada, and then 70s way to the north. 80s will be locked in right around 90 degrees again for tomorrow. The relief will come by tomorrow night and on into Tuesday. High pressure behind this cold front, and you'll see all the shower and thunderstorm activity popping up tomorrow as those warm temperatures are still holding on out there to the eastern United States, and a lot more moisture is pushing into that area being pulled up by the low pressure system attached with that cold front. For tonight, partly cloudy skies, 73 the overnight low. Southwesterly wind turning around to the northwest as that front pushes through, and a slight chance of a thunderstorm or two as that front passes over central Iowa. Mostly sunny skies for tomorrow, 90 degrees, less humid. It is going to be warm out there, but it will feel much more comfortable out there. And then for tomorrow night, clear skies, 63 the overnight low. Northwesterly breeze once again. Cooler temperatures on the way. Look at this 5-day forecast. Man, do I love it. Temperatures holding on right around 80 degrees all the way through. Not a cloud in the sky Tuesday through Friday. That's going to help, as I said, the crops get on their way, and it's going to keep the rest of us pretty darn comfortable out there.
No raindrops in that 5-day forecast.
Nope.
It's been a long time since we've seen that.
It's kind of nice.
It is nice. Thanks, Ed.
Coming up in sports, final round action from the SANI Golf Invitational. A Des Moines man is running away with it.
Everybody ran to the best of their ability. Can't complain at all for the silver. We're very happy.
And we'll hear exclusively from Des Moines native TASH KAISER in Barcelona. Pat has it all when we come back.
Hi, I'm Rick Silvestrini. Would you like to be a TV13 sportscaster for a day? All you have to do is write an essay in 50 words or less and tell us why you want to be a sportscaster. Ages 15 to 22 are eligible to win. Don't forget to enclose a picture. Drop your entries off August 21st through August 23rd at any area Yonkers stores. 10 finalists will be selected and auditioned at 1 p.m. August 29th, where the grand prize will be awarded, and one lucky finalist will be a sportscaster for a day on Live at 5 or Newscenter 13 at 10.
I'd like to try that. Sportscaster for a day. Want to trade, Pat?
Spending some time with Jim Zob on the press box, that'd be worth it.
Yeah, it would be at a Hawkeye game, sure. We're going to start with the Olympics. Of course, it finished up today, and the U.S. did really well. Probably the most medals, I guess, since about 1904, believe it or not. The Olympic competition wrapped up today in Barcelona. It turned out to be a very successful Olympics for the United States. Although today didn't go so well, the favored American water polo team lost to the unified team. U.S. finishes fourth without a medal. But the United States volleyball team did come through in their bronze medal match against Brazil. The Americans win it 3-1. They settle for bronze. The unified team ends up winning the most medals, 112. The U.S. is second with 108. That's the most for the United States in the non-boycotted Olympics since the 1904 games in St. Louis. One of those U.S. medals was earned by Des Moines' own TASH KAISER. She helped the American 4x400 relay to a second-place finish last night. KAISER led off the relay for the United States, and she handed off the baton in first place. The unified team, though, outkicked the U.S. anchor leg to win the race, but KAISER says she's not disappointed with the silver.
The silver is fine for us. You know, we've been getting the silver forever, so this is okay. But to me, it's not that big a difference because we're within the same second, the same minute with them. So that's kind of nice to be that close. Everybody ran to the best of their ability. Can't complain at all for the silver. We're very happy.
Golfers are battling heat, humidity, and Mike McCoy during today's final round of the SANI Invitational. McCoy has already locked up the Iowa Amateur of the Year award, and he's trying to wrap up the SANI title today. McCoy shot a 2 under 70 during this morning's round. He stands at 7 under for the tourney, good enough for a 4-shot lead on Dave Pfister of Illinois, but they're still out on the course, finishing up the final 18 holes. We'll have results on the sports tonight at 10. Now to baseball and the streaking Pirates. They win into this afternoon's game at St. Louis, riding a 9-game winning streak. Pittsburgh took the early lead today. Orlando Merced hits a double to the gap in left center field. 2 runs come in, including Barry Bonds, who will just beat out the throw to the plate. 2-0. Then in the third, the Pirates extend their lead. Mike LaValliere goes down the left field line. 3 runs come in on the play. Pittsburgh holds on to beat St. Louis 7-5. The Pirates with a season-high 10 straight victories. In Atlanta, the Braves ran their winning streak to 9 this afternoon by pounding the Dodgers. Sid Bream with another big day. He doubles to the left center field gap in the first inning. 2 runs come in. Then in the third, Bream hits one down the first baseline. Otis Nixon and Terry Pendleton score. Then an error by Mitch Webster allows Dave Justice to come home, and an error by Oral Hershiser lets Bream come in. 6-zip Braves. They roll to their 9th in a row. 10-3 the final. Elsewhere, Montreal down Philadelphia 6-2. Matt Williams with 4 RBIs to lift San Francisco over Cincinnati 7-1, and Houston leads San Diego in the 7th. In the American League, Minnesota playing at Milwaukee. The Brewers jump on top in the second. Scott Fletcher with an RBI single up the middle. 2-0 Milwaukee. The Twins would cut it to 1 in the 5th inning. Kent Herbeck singles to right, driving in Shane Mack, but the Brewers go on to win this one 4-2. Minnesota's now lost 5 of their last 6 games. Meanwhile, Toronto lost at Detroit 9-2, and Baltimore edged Cleveland in 10 innings, so the Orioles trail the Blue Jays in the East by just 2 games now. The Yankees shut out the Red Sox 6-zip. Chicago and California are tied in the 5th. Kansas City leads Oakland in the 7th. And the Mariners are out front of the Rangers 4-1 in the 4th. And in about a half an hour, the Iowa Cubs will host the Omaha Royals at Sec Taylor Stadium. We'll have highlights of that one on the Sports Tonight at 10. That's the rubber game of the 3-game series between those two. Iowa won the first game, Omaha last night. See what happens tonight.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Hopefully some relief from the heat tonight. Ed's primetime forecast is coming up.
And they've come from all over the world to learn from the masters. We'll be back to wrap it up next. Hopefully a better night than the day we had today.
That's right, and I think this will be the last time we can say that temperatures for the prime time will be in the 80s, hopefully. Cooler temperatures coming our way next week. Tonight, though, mostly clear. Still warm out there. Hold on to the air conditioners.
Thanks, Ed. Sugar and spice and everything iced was the theme today at the Des Moines Convention Center. A sweets lover's dream? Not exactly, because these cakes look too good to eat. The International Cake Exploration Society held their 17th annual show and convention in Des Moines today. Cake decorators from around the world came to show off their unique confections. Among the masterpieces was a Kenny Rogers cake. The creator, Donna Horn, has been chosen to make the presidential cake for the Smithsonian Institute. How about that?
Should have seen the look on this one's face when those wedding cakes came up. Not me, right? Thanks for joining us. Nightly News is coming up next. Remember, primetime Olympic coverage continues tonight with the closing ceremonies, but we will be back at 10 o'clock for an update on the day's news, weather, and sports. Hope to see you then.
Good night.
For around-the-clock news headlines in the Des Moines area, watch Newscenter 13 on Heritage Cable Channel 30 twice each hour.